So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Giant morgue disguised as a hospital.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows, a kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. flower's dying. It needs water. William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now. If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood? Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way, then. Thank you, nurse.
Not now.
I cannot enter. It's locked, all right. It's locked, all right. Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
I have no need for your medicine.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I have wasted too much energy.
If Pembroke is still standing there...
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Goodbye, Milton. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Goodbye, Milton. Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later. It's locked.
So many deaths. And what of my own life?
I cannot enter. It's locked, all right. Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. Balls of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. I cannot enter. It's locked, all right. These skulls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood. Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this. These scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London.
It's more than...
Don't be...
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more, unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about...
She shouldn't...
You don't have to blame...
I'm...
Do you need any medical assistance?
Come on.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
As for me, what a blunder.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion...
I see.
I'm Harvey Fiddick.
Tell me...
I'm just a regular guy.
I was more...
I'm a cop.
Well, I won't...
Are you sure?
In other... Tell me about...
Strictly...
What do you mean?
I off...
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury.
Of course I didn't hurt myself.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's...
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Tell me more about the death of your wife.
1915. I was in the army.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was...
How are your children?
They were smaller then.
I'm sorry for your...
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
I'm alright. This shift never ends. Waste of time with me.
Good evening, Doctor.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Please, could you tell...
I'm a great admirer.
What may... I'll give...
Of course.
I bait...
I'd rather...
As long...
You're not the...
What can you tell me about the pen...
Well, it is all...
Do you need...
Well...
Do you want me...
Oh, no, Doctor.
I see. Do you need my...
You don't have to worry about...
Goodbye, Doctor...
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen.
This hospital's
As for me,
falling apart.
blundering
In the
idiot.
circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, sir. I'm...
Reed? Yes, I've been in...
Does my arrival...
Let us just say that I don't particularly share...
If you...
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without...
I know we've never met...
Oh, but I have...
There is no need for such... And...
That is one point we could...
Tell me, Waverley.
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory.
Are you thinking about...
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery.
And are you not afraid that you're right?
Rivalry?
Why do...
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered.
Other people may say that...
Conservative?
What? Other people...
Conservative.
Tell me...
Strict...
Kel,
We're...
I don't...
Modern...
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
As for me...
Finally, you've returned.
Yes, Nat.
You've worked your first miracle.
Duty calls? Well...
Many thanks, Doctor.
Good evening. I'm...
No,
Reed.
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts.
I suppose that this pain...
Yes.
Could you at least...
Mortimer.
How
So painful, I'd rather not.
I'm sure you realize...
Not really.
I see.
Yes, maybe.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized?
My mother just wants the best.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox.
It's not me you have to convince.
Is your mother bothering you?
That's tempting, Doctor.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir.
You are not a burden, sir.
And you have my
Tell me about yourself.
I don't want to...
Do you need any help?
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
I have to go now.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
You disgust. The daily routine.
Please, Jonathan, come in.
fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
There is an absurd poetry to my situation. Physician, heal thyself.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
There is no need to apologize, Edgar. You offered me sanctuary when I had none.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Do you need something, Jonathan?
I have...
Then ask her.
You mentioned some...
Certainly.
That explains your nightly wanderings about the dock.
I feel it wasn't mere coincidence that led...
Yet you don't fear me.
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for
Since you seem quite the expert on...
As men of science, our first...
The sun.
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire, my friend.
Must I take a life?
You are a vampire.
Since I'm...
Well, for many years...
What do you...
What we need...
Where...
Oh, to be honest...
The man...
He was a...
Where do...
The name means slave.
Just for clap...
A skull is...
We'll see each other again soon.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Have any of the patients given you trouble?
These poor souls have so little left.
The world would be a better place if it were cared for by women like...
You make me blush. I am simply a necessary evil.
Pardon my boldness, Your Ladyship, but I have questions.
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is rivaled only by your thirst for blood.
I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first, prove yourself capable of resolving my predicament without eating the culprit.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with...
As immortal tradition doth dictate, all fangs and hypnotic eyes ablaze, the blood would run like a river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
Who would be so foolish as to...
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt.
What are your
As the newly appointed surgeon...
Please continue.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
Excuse my impertinence, Your Ladyship. This is not...
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital.
I'll take care of it.
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could...
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.